Hi, this is Kim Cruz with my Barriers to Web 2.0 presentation. The article summary, The Digital Divide, discussed how about 25% of Americans don't have access to broadband. Some of those reasons are financial. Families can't afford it. Some in rural areas, the infrastructure is not there, so they must rely on data-based satellite internet. And then some students just don't have the equipment. They don't have the devices. They don't have what they need to access the internet, even if they had broadband. It affects students' education, just accessing their homework and accessing textbooks that may be online. It also affects teachers. It affects teacher access to internet and information. The article referenced a teacher not knowing who Pepe the Frog was, and that can have ethical and legal ramifications for posting things that they may not realize have really negative backgrounds. The government's working to fix these issues through financial ways, and they're going to have to get creative, I think, in how we fix this issue for America. In the article, 7 Barriers to Tech Adoption, lack of vision is one. If schools try to implement new technology without a clear vision, it can all get muddled up and lost without that directive. One barrier is also changing teacher roles. If we move from the direct instruction to project-based, teachers don't know really what their role is anymore, and that can be scary for some teachers. The achievement gap encompasses both the access to technology as well as how much our kids know about it and if they know to use it or not, or how to use it. Scaling promising innovations. We have to roll things out, not all at once, but in a realistic way. Finances can seriously be a barrier to technology, with technology prices and not just the devices, but the infrastructure that it takes as well. Which is another barrier. That infrastructure piece can be huge for schools if they aren't wired for high use broadband. And then beyond the textbooks, that can be an issue for parents helping their kids. When we start going all digital, it just can cause issues in the community. Barriers to using Web 2.0. Some of the barriers: lack of time for staff. It takes time to learn these new initiatives and learn this new technology, and we don't always have a lot of time to pull teachers and teach them new things, so that can be an issue. And then again, lack of training and support. If administration just rolls out technology without the support and training teachers need, can be a problem. School culture. If the school culture does not back new technology, then more than likely it will fail. And then again, that digital divide, both in the schools and in home, can be a huge barrier to implementing new technology. The advantages: individualized instruction. We can meet students where they are, create their own knowledge. They're not limited to a textbook and what's inside that classroom anymore. They can learn from the world. Authentic audiences. Students can customize projects. If they're interested in, say, space, they can make presentations and present them to NASA. It's just limitless. As well as their collaboration is limitless. They can learn from another student in Sweden or in the Middle East, and from a variety of cultures. Some of the potential disadvantages: viruses. When we release technology out there for kids to use, sometimes they download things they shouldn't. Social media issues on school devices can be a huge problem. Copyright infringement. If students are using videos and things that they shouldn't be, it can cause problems not just for the student but for the school as well. And then again, student safety. Students are sometimes naive and don't realize putting themselves out on the internet can be dangerous. Educational resources. This article was interesting. The school where my own children attend, a few years back, started using Engage New York, which is an open educational resource, which means that the learning materials are free. Free to access, free to change, and free to share. So the district is using that for ELA and math. There are typically open domain materials. They're being tried by a lot of different states, including the District of Columbia. And teacher frustrations with this sometimes in searching for materials. There's a lot of Pinterest out there without a lot of depth. So teachers can get overwhelmed in just searching for these materials. Do I feel the digital divide can be resolved? I do. I see students on a daily basis that do not have internet access. And we are in a one-to-one school district where students 7th through 12th grade have MacBook Airs, and they don't always have access. My small town is taking measures. They recently ran fiber optic cables to better the internet. But we need to be a part of the solution, and we need to bridge that gap while the infrastructure is being improved. One thing that our school has done is we have Wi-Fi on our activity buses for our athletes and musicians and just our kids that are traveling. They can still do their homework and access their homework on their laptops while on the bus. But we need to be creative and find ways to help students access even when they don't have it. Skill sets for the 21st century. They need to be good communicators, both in the digital world and face-to-face communication. They need to know appropriate internet usage. They need to understand that what they post today can come back on them in 10 years. I think being creative is important for the 21st century. We need new ideas. I put problem solving twice, and I did it on purpose, because if we don't have problem solvers, we're just stuck where we are. And technology can help with that, solving some of the problems that we have now with internet. Students need to be able to persevere. That's a huge one. No matter what their ability, if they continue to work through problems and find a way to fix it or to work through it, it's super important. And then they need to be productive in whatever they choose to do in life. The impact of the global economy on my internet usage, I would say the major thing would be shopping. I live in a small town. We don't have access to a lot of retail stores, and so it's driven me online. And I do almost all my holiday shopping and back to school shopping online. And some of my items even come from as far away as China. So that has changed the way I have shopped in recent years. I have recently started a new position this year, and I need a lot of instruction in technology. Our evaluation tool that we use is online, and I'm muddling through that this year. I need to know new innovations for teachers in technology. My role, I can help teachers find apps that will help them to better serve their students. I can show them different websites that can help them be better teachers, and in that way I need to be a continual learner. And then I need to find ways to advocate for tech. I need to help my districts to find the technology they need, as well as help my teachers find the technology they need. This question on 21st century technology is a little tricky for me. I work for a co-op that serves 17 school districts, so the answer is yes and no. Some of my districts are very tech savvy and have one-to-one initiatives, and some of them don't even have enough computers for kids. So each district is different, but I think my role is to help my teachers get as much access as they can, with what they have. Advantages to innovative practices, accessibility for students who learn differently. If we can customize instruction to meet a student where they are. It expands the walls of the classroom. They're not stuck with just what's in front of them in a textbook. They can learn from everywhere around the world. It allows students to be more globally marketable. If students make connections around the world, then they don't look at themselves as just part of a small town, but part of a global community. And then, again, those connections and learning from all kinds of different people, which when your access is limited to a variety of cultures in your own town, you can just, the world is open. Some disadvantages, of course, financial. It does cost a lot of money, not just for devices, but for infrastructure. Inappropriate use by students can be a huge issue legally for students and schools. Not integrating technology as a tool, but using it as a babysitter can be a huge disadvantage. I want technology to be used to further student learning, not to just give a teacher a break. And then student safety. Again, they don't always realize how unsafe it can be. I have experienced inappropriate internet usage by students in a district that I serve. We had boys who were trading inappropriate pictures of girls, like trading cards. And a kiddo had linked a cell phone to his school device, and so those pictures, it linked up and were on his school computer. And so he, of course, had some consequences, and we had to make sure that we followed the letter of the law because of an IEP, and we had manifestation hearings, and so that was a learning experience for me, but it's scary just for my own children, and we talk a lot about that as well, and keeping them safe and making sure that they make good choices. And these are my references for the articles, and I thank you for your time.